Happy New Year, my lovely people. Welcome to Tangle Time Arts. My name is Nana Heron, and I'm a certified Zentangle teacher. And whether you've been following me for a while or you're just joining me, I just wanted to wish everyone a happy new year filled with lots of blessings and also um, be well during this year. And one of my goals for 2025 is to focus on creativity and expanding on what we've been learning here. And so we're going to continue on with our weekly tangles. And I thought for this year we would still focus on our official tangles by Zentangle, but like we did with our Advent tangles from last year, we would do some impromptu ones with if I see other tangles that kind of catch my fancy, we would take a look at those and randomly fill them in. So for today, we're going to keep things kind of basic, and we're going to do a tangle that's maybe a little challenging for some, but we'll take it step by step. And we're going to start with Auraknot. And it looks like a Celtic knot, but it's a really simple way of doing it, a fun way. And so we're going to get started on that. You'll just need the basic tools, which is a white tile. Or if you don't have this, you can use computer paper or a sketchbook. The tile itself is 3.5 inches by 3.5 inches. So if you want to mark that off in your sketchbook, you can do that. You'll need a black pen. I am using the Sakura Pigma Pen 05, which is also known as an apprentice pen. And this is just easier for me to hold. If you don't have one of these, you can use any black pen. I have a number 2 pencil, and I have a tortillon here. If you don't have one of those, you can use a cotton swab or a Q-tip, or even your little finger to blend. But if you do that, please wash your hands afterwards so you can get all the graphite off of your fingers. All right, let's get started. So we're going to start the official way with a dot in each corner. So you'll need your pencil and lightly put a dot in each corner. I'm pressing a little harder than what you would need to so that it shows up. Because sometimes with the camera, it just doesn't show up if I do it lightly. Once you have that, you're going to connect the dots with a light line from dot to dot. And again, mine's going to be a little darker. So we're just going to put a line. Don't worry about it being straight because mine definitely are not. In fact, I like to add a little bit of a wave to them if I can. So I deliberately make it so they're not straight. All right, once you have that, we have like a kind of like a nice little frame there, actually. And we'll take our pen. And Auraknot starts with any number of points, 3 or more, kind of like an offshoot of a star shape. So I'm going to aim for 6 points, but you could do any number like 5 or 7, whatever strikes your fancy. But I am aiming for 6 of them. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And mine are kind of pointy on top. If yours is more of a curve, that's okay too. So once we have our shape with our points, and like I said, you might have 5 of them, or you might have more than I do. That's your preference. There's no right or wrong here. So we are going to pick a point, and I'm going to start at the top, and I'm going to connect a line. So from your point, you've kind of got this line, and I see this line over here, right? So I'm just going to connect that. And again, it doesn't have to be straight. Mine has a little curve to it. So now we have a long line here, and we are going to aura that. All the way over. Now the key with this tangle is rotating. So I'm going to rotate, and we end it here, but we're going to take a step back to this point that we kind of skipped over. And we've got this point, this line, but we want to kind of continue on to this line here. So, like we do with hollow bob, we're going to go from this end, pick up our pen and kind of skip over that and connect up that line. So we actually do have a line, but it goes behind our first one. And then we're going to aura this line. Again, when you meet the other one, pick up your pen, travel over to the other side, and keep going. So this one's behind the first one. We're going to rotate. Again, the key is rotating. We end it here. We're taking a step back. So now we have this point, this line. We're going to jump over here and connect up with this one. So we've got this line, which goes behind our other one. And we're going to do an aura. Again, lift up your pen, keep going. Rotate. So it's really just a matter of the same steps over and over again. And O is rotating. Now from here, we're going to take a step back to this point. Rotate. Finish this line. Got this long line to aura, but it's behind the other one. Lift up your pen. Keep going. All right, rotate. Take a step back. And we are going to, from this point, connect that line. So now we're going to have to go under 2. So now I have, and this is star shaped because I've got the 6 points, and it also it actually does make 2 triangles in there. All right, once you're at this point and we're at our original starting point, we just keep going with our auras. So we're going to follow this all the way over. Once we reach this, we're going to take a step back to over here and rotate. Keep putting in these auras. Just take it slow, one step at a time. Take a step back to this point and rotate. And follow that line all the way over to the point. Take a step back, rotate. Step back and rotate. Here we are. Now you can see it's getting almost like that Celtic knot type of look. but we didn't need any special equipment, no rulers or anything like that. It's just all in the step-by-step technique of um, using the auras and putting um, the new ones behind the old ones, like in Hollabah. I think we can fit in a third layer, so I'm going to try to do that. Go back one step. Go back. I don't have a lot of space, but we'll make it work. All right. So I was able to do 3 of those, and I think at this point I can either leave this empty like this, or I can continue on just in the inside here, because for me, what I would like to do is with these little triangles here, I just want to ink them in. And this is optional if you feel that's too dark and it's not something you want to do, you don't have to. So I have that inked in. And then I have the option of just continuing on in the inside if I would like to. And I think I would like to make that a little smaller on the inside. Um, okay, so I'm just going to start going around so that there's not that much empty space on the inside. If you like the empty space, of course you can leave it that way. I'm just adding auras and going around. And maybe I want to do that one more time. Now it's small, and I think I'm going to ink that in. Again, that's optional. So that's our Auraknot. I thought it would be fun to add some greenery around it. So I'm going to add some poke leaf. You can start at any one of these spaces. And poke leaf is really fun. It's related to poke root, but I don't think we need any poke root today. Those look like kind of like little cherries. We just need the leaves. So I'm just going to draw a little curve coming up from the aura knot. I'm going to aura that curve. And then I'm going to draw another little curve, a C curve, kind of like a smile. And for the poke leaves, I like to really make these heart-shaped. And then I'm going to rotate, and I'm going to have another leaf coming off of this first one. I'm going to go outside of my pencil line. That's fine. So sometimes I like to follow the stem of one and kind of come out the other side. Put a little smile on that. And then your heart shape. I'm going to pick another spot to work from. And put in my 2 lines. Little smile. And draw in my leaf. And your leaves can be different sizes because in nature, leaves are different sizes, right? So you don't have to try to make them all the same. So I kind of draw my hearts upside down. If you need to rotate around to do that, you can. So I've got this stem here, and I'm going to kind of continue that on. And let's see, maybe you want to come over here a little bit. So I kind of just, what I'll do is once I've put a few in, I'll take a look. And sometimes it helps to pick up your tile and hold it at arm's length in front of you and kind of rotate it around. It really does help to see where you want to fill in some spaces. I can't do that on the camera at this angle, but when I'm not working on filming something, I would definitely pick up a tile and turn it around and just see where I want to add more. It's very helpful. So if you need to put in your heart-shaped leaf this way, you just rotate around and put in the heart. Okay. And I think we can fit another one, a small one here. And again, I'm going to rotate it around and take a look. And we really just have this one larger space here to fill up. And I think looking at this, I can put at least one more over here. And something else I might like to add are a few of these little, I think they're kind of like tendrils. They just come off and kind of loop around, kind of like almost like a vine type of thing. Optional, but I like to add them. Sometimes I'll take a metallic marker and put those in, but today we're just working with our basic tools and appreciating what we can make with just paper, pen, and pencil, really. So with just those simple tools, we can make these lovely little masterpieces. I think I've almost made it around. I think I did make it around, right? Sometimes I go with definitely with like a more of a stem like. Um, I'll do a line in an aura and then squiggle off of that. All right, now it's time for some shading. So we can take our pencil and we can shade. We can do this a number of ways. First, we can shade inside here, and I like to do these areas where the lines meet. And I kind of just add some graphite down the center of it. And as with a lot of these tangles, there's different ways you can do your shading. So you can experiment and try different things. All right, so we have that. And then for the entire Auraknot, we can put some shading around it. And I'm actually going to come out pretty far as far as shading. So instead of keeping it just along our outermost line, I'm coming out a little bit more. Since we're not adding color, I want these leaves to kind of pop out. So adding a lot of shading. You can decide how far out you want to come with your shading, but I am definitely going pretty far. So I'm just working my way around our Auraknot, which is turned into a star, and our poke leaves. And as I was doing this, I was thinking, it is possible you might like to actually ink in the stems, and I might do that after I finish blending. I don't usually, but it might be something that you want to do. And if I think about it, maybe I'll go back in and do that. Okay. And then for our little leaves, I like to add some shading under the smiles. Oops. All right. Once we feel we have enough graphite, we can take our tortillon and we'll start blending. Now, if you start blending and you blended the whole piece out and you feel like it's not dark enough, you can always go in and add more graphite. What you can't do is undo it. So let's start blending and see what we think. I'm just starting on my star shape here, just blending these points out a little bit, kind of on either side. Just a little back and forth motion. And then in our center, the same thing. Forgot to put graphite here, so I can just do that with my tortillon because my tortillon has enough on the tip that I can just go in and do that. And that's one of the cool things that I love about blending with a tortillon. So we have that. You could, if you wanted to, you could add shading along these areas here. I didn't do that, but it's something that you could do. So you could add shading along here, kind of like hollowball fashion. Next, I'm going to shade under the little smiles. All right, I think I'm all the way around. Yep. And then I'm going to start blending these areas outside of the star and around our little leaves. Take your time with blending. I really enjoy blending. I just love that little scratchiness of the tortillon on the paper. It just brings me joy. I'm kind of bringing it out to our little frame. Remember our original pencil lines? So I'm kind of going out that far, actually. I think it's much lighter towards our original pencil lines. It's darker towards the star. So we have that all blended out. And then this is where you kind of need to decide if you would like to ink in those stems. I'm still trying to decide if I want to go ahead and do it. I just usually leave it like this, but I will go ahead and ink them in so that you can decide if you want to do that or not. Um, so we can take a look at it as it is, and maybe I'll take a picture before before I ink it in. So just so that I have a reference, which is helpful sometimes. Sometimes I take a picture, or sometimes I'll even take a photocopy, and then sometimes I will ink in or color the photocopy before the actual piece. So that's an option for you too. All right, so I'm going to do it, and then you can decide which you like better. So I'm going to ink in the stems for you. And then you can decide if you want to do it. It definitely, I think, especially for this piece, adds some drama, and it adds the contrast. If we were using colored pencils, I probably would have done those in something like a brown. Um, and let me know what you like, which you liked better, before it was inked in or after it was inked in. So that'll be kind of interesting for me to find out. All right, so we have them, I think, all inked in. I'm just rotating to make sure I got them all. They're all inked in, so that adds a lot of drama to it. Um, I think my preference is still for the not inked in stems, but like I said, those are some of the options that you can play around with. Um, Now we can put our initials on here somewhere, and I'm just going to tuck them in. Oh, let's see. I think I'm just going to make it part of this leaf, sort of, right there in the corner. I'm going to turn it over and put my name on this. And it is the 5th, January 5th, 2025. I have to think it through so that I get the correct year on there. It always takes me a couple of weeks. And this is our 2025 weekly tangles. And this is number 1. And we had Auraknot and Poke Leaf. And both are by Zentangle HQ headquarters. That's our first little project with just our basic tools. Looks complicated, but it's really not. You can play around with shading and what you want to ink and not ink. And with the Auraknot, you can try a different number of points, which is really an interesting exercise. But my preference always comes back to the 6 points. And let me know what your preference is too. Maybe it's 3, maybe it's 5. All right, we're off to an interesting start, and we'll go from there with something totally different. I'm thinking maybe something with a spiral for week 2. All right, again, Happy New Year. I'm so happy you're here with me, whether it's the first time or the 50th time or more. I'm so grateful for all of you being on this journey with me. All right, again, Happy New Year, and I love you guys. Take care, be safe. Bye-bye.